The United States military began major combat operations in Iran. Our objective is to defend the American people by eliminating imminent threats from the Iranian regime, a vicious group of very hard, terrible people. Its menacing activities directly endanger the United States, our troops, our bases overseas, and our allies throughout the world. For 47 years, the Iranian regime has chanted death to America and waged an unending campaign of bloodshed and mass murder, targeting the United States, our troops, and the innocent people in many, many countries. Among the regime's very first acts was to back a violent takeover of the U.S. Embassy in Tehran, holding dozens of American hostages for 444 days. In 1983, Iran's proxies carried out the Marine barracks bombing in Beirut that killed 241 American military personnel. In 2000, they knew and were probably involved with the attack on the USS Cole. Many died. Iranian forces killed and maimed hundreds of American service members in Iraq. The regime's proxies have continued to launch countless attacks against American forces stationed in the Middle East in recent years, as well as U.S. naval and commercial vessels in international shipping lanes. It's been mass terror, and we're not going to put up with it any longer.
Hey, welcome to Boomer vs. X. Come one, come all. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hit that alert button. You wanted the best? Well, now you got the best. Hello, Boomer.
Dear God, the Khomeinis are dead.
I like that. That's
I've been waiting a long time for this, and been waiting a long time for subscribers. You got to subscribe.
Yeah, man, you just came in with the la 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 la.
Well, that'll light up the subscribers. Get them off their butts. Come in and subscribe. Thank you for all the subscribers that keep coming back. We appreciate you.
Yeah, at this point, Boomer starts begging for subscribers, and instead you came in with the la 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 chants.
Oh yeah, the Bedouin, whatever the hell, the scream, whatever the scream said, or whatever it was, whatever those guys do. Yeah, we've been waiting a long time for this, man.
Yeah, man. So today's show is going to focus on the U.S. attacks against Iran. Well, it finally happened.
Well, because of my age, I'm a boomer, and only boomers will understand what I'm talking about. No Xer, no Zer, no millennial will ever understand what I'm talking about. Every boomer that I met hated Iranians. We couldn't stand them because of the hostage crisis in 1979. There's still this hatred in me of Iranians. Can't stand them. And it took me a long time to separate it. Time, distance, people die, people get old. And it took me a while to get that hatred out of me. And I hate Iranians over the age of 40 and above. I can't stand the sight of them. Hate their fucking guts. But the Iranians 35 and under, I've learned over time to differentiate between the two. A young person doesn't know about the Iranian hostage crisis. He doesn't give a crap. It's ancient history to him. All he cares about is affordability, like we do today here. Can I buy a house? Can I get married? Can I have kids? Can I go out and party, have a dance with my wife? Can I kiss her in public? Can I hold her hand? No, you can't. And so that's all he's worried about. The future of his life is going to be a happy one. But the older guy, he's going to kill me. He wants to fucking kill me.
Let's take a look at the Iran hostage crisis of 1979. What do you say?
Go for it.
The special report that we planned to bring you tonight was about domestic politics, the battle among the Democrats. But we think the crisis in Iran is more urgent right now than the campaign here at home. Some 60 Americans, including our fellow citizen whom you just saw bound and blindfolded, are now beginning their 6th day of captivity inside the U.S. Embassy in Tehran. It's Friday morning there now, but throughout this night in Washington, officials will continue their search for some way to negotiate the hostages' freedom. That search was not successful today. In this broadcast, we'll have reports on the diplomatic efforts to resolve the problem and on other aspects of the crisis as well. But we begin now with an on-the-scene account by the one American television correspondent who has been there since the beginning, the seizure of the embassy last Sunday, and who, with his crew, has provided us with outstanding coverage all this week. Here is Bob Dyke in Tehran.
That's no Don Lemon. Don Lemon would never do that.
This flag was apparently taken from someone's office inside the United States Embassy. It was burned Tuesday evening outside the embassy's gates. To the Iranian demonstrators who set fire to it, this was a symbol of victory. 2 days earlier, several hundred young people, mainly students at Tehran University, had taken over the embassy.
So the Iranians stormed the U.S. embassy in Iran and took our hostages.
Yes. That was you were barely 5 years old. You don't remember this. But that was my introduction to Muslims, just Muslims in general, and Iranians. And so
it really was the start
it came
of
in hot.
Right.
We are not occupiers, they said. We have thrown out the occupiers. But instead of chasing all the Americans out of the compound, the Iranians imprisoned them in a building somewhere on these grounds. They have been hostages ever since. This morning, for the first time since the hostages were put under lock and key, one of the captives, blindfolded, was brought out into the open. He is Harry Rosen, the embassy's president.
So look at him; he's blindfolded,
and he was an American. They were all Americans. They tried to get the Canadians, but the Canadians fooled them. So I think some Americans escaped through Canada, to the embassy. And I used to live in Santa Monica, and there was a lot of Iranians, and they would show me pictures of Iran. There was Iranians. I was on the wrestling team. They were on the wrestling team, and it was a modern Western country. The Shah was
beautiful.
Charge. He was a brutal dictator, but he had a Western society. Right. The minute the Ayatollah Khomeini came out of Paris, boom! Overnight, they're in the burqa. Your mom is wearing a Western dress one day, and the next day you show me a picture of her in a freaking burqa, like that fast. I'm not kidding you. And all of a sudden, they went from I'm an Iranian to I'm a Persian, because everybody wanted to string them up. You wouldn't dare say I'm an Iranian in 1979 United States. You wouldn't come out of your mouth. Oh, I'm Persian. I'm not Iranian. I'm Persian. They try to protect themselves. They hide. They hid. And that was their introduction to Muslims and to Iranians. I hated their fucking guts. But all those Iranians are probably dead now.
Let's take a look at
I watched the celebrations of these young people.
They're thrilled.
Yeah.
47 years of hell.
Yeah.
Let's take a quick look at the Iranian Revolution of 1979.
In the early 1970s, Iran is changing fast. Back in 1953, the United States helped the Iranian monarch, the Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, in a coup against a pro-parliamentary faction. From then on, the country becomes a key ally in American Cold War strategy. U.S. aid, technical assistance, and weapons flow in, while the Shah tries to modernize Iranian society and develop relations with the West. Shah Pahlavi encourages other countries in the Middle East to do the same, although Saudi Arabia's King Faisal warns him. Your Majesty, I appreciate your advice. May I remind you, you are not the Shah of France. You are not in the Élysée. You are in Iran. Your population is 90% Muslim. Please, don't forget that.
So the problems are starting.
Well, the Muslim Brotherhood goes back to the 1920s. Maybe I think it goes way back in Egypt. So the Muslim fundamentalists have always been there since, I guess, Muhammad back in the 700s. They've always been there. They just reared their ugly head in 1979 through Iran, and then Egypt took off. The Palestinians took off, and now the PLO and all that crap. And you got this mess now.
Let's keep looking.
But Afghanistan and Iran were modern countries. If you could believe that. If you could believe Afghanistan.
Oh, Afghanistan was beautiful. You could go there, have a vacation, the club life, have drinks, dance with the pretty ladies. It was beautiful. Wouldn't you like to have a country where you can go visit? Like Cuba. Why is Cuba still the way it is?
So
I would like to
that's
take it
another
over.
show.
You could take it over. You could put a Disneyland there, Starbucks everywhere, and it would be a wonderful place to go visit. That's why half these
And
nations need to
Lebanon.
be.
You don't remember Lebanon? It was the Paris, the Monaco of the Middle East. I can
Yeah.
still see it to this day when the Christians ran Lebanon. Because there were Christians in Lebanon, if you can believe that. It was beautiful. And then the Palestinians, they got kicked out of Jordan, and they all went to Lebanon, and they started the civil war, and everything went downhill.
Right.
Oh, it was just awful what those
But
Palestinian
Iran
Muslims
is
did
not
to
a
everything.
democracy.
But I think that we have just taken what is good for this country. And I even sometimes wonder if this multi-party system is good for those who have it elsewhere. But for us, it seems that what we have done now is the best because, as I said, just go in the streets and question anybody. You will see the whole country has joined the movement.
The Shah is a monarch positioning himself as a paternal figure. He centralizes power by appointing loyal but usually indecisive ministers and outlawing political parties. In 1975, all adult men must join the Shah's Rastakhi's party, while Iran's secret police, the Savak, suppress underground parties like the National Front and the Communist Tudeh. While the White Revolution benefits secular urbanites, others resist it. Rapid modernization brings inflation, corruption, income inequality, social tensions, and inefficiency. As rural workers move to cities for better pay, many discover that they've rarely benefited from the Shah's policies. One villager from Aliabad complains. We have nothing in this country. We see that others are rich and have 7 or 8-story homes, and we live in tents. It takes us 1 or 2 months to get something done in government offices, and the other side had good connections and is able to ruin us. If they attack us and fight us and we go to court, the court does nothing because they are in cahoots with them. Officials reinvest much.
So you see, now the problems start.
Well,
Yeah, the
corruption, even in
opportunity.
Mexico, Latin America, corruption, Asia, corruption ruins societies. It always does.
And the Ayatollah sees an opportunity.
And he was a corrupt son of a bitch, but he was our son of a bitch. He was against the Russians, and
Yeah.
he was a brutal dictator. And yes, there was a wealth inequality. There was inequality, but he dragged their asses. The reason they have all those skyscrapers and cars is because of the Shah. As brutal as he was, as much as they complained about him, the Shah did all that. We Western investment in Iran built Iran.
Yes, sir. Let's continue.
He also benefits from clerics' historical role as leaders of popular resistance movements. By early 1978, economic crisis and political agitation lead to protests. When security forces react and kill some protesters, the funerals draw huge crowds. The Shah seems genuinely surprised by events which are spontaneous and contradict his self-perception as a beloved figure. The U.S.
See, he's losing control.
He lost control. The rural people hated his guts. Couldn't stand him because he put them in jail. He, killed them. He starved them. He had a party once. I remember the party out in the desert. Where he went into the desert in the middle of nowhere and had a grand, luxurious party with golden tents and elephants and you name it. And his people were starving. That was it. They couldn't take it anymore. The arrogance of the Shah. He was an arrogant. Now, his son, he was a little boy back then. His son is trying to take leadership in Iran today. He's an old man now.
Is also surprised. They lack information about Iran or Khomeini and considered the Shah's position stable. In August, riots erupt in major cities, coupled with attacks on symbols of modernization and foreign influence. On August 19th, Islamic extremists set fire to the Cinema Rex, killing up to 470 people. But many Iranians believe the hated Savak is responsible. Clashes between protesters and security forces soon multiply, especially at mosques and colleges. Student Mohammed Amini struggles with police at a teacher's college. The police took up positions and attacked us. We fought them with our rocks. A violent struggle broke out, but we weren't an equal match for them. We were forced to retreat. When we went back into the college yard, I noticed the dean was watching from his window and laughing. At that very moment, a student threw a rock at him. The window shattered. The Shah orders the military.
And it's all going to shit at this point. We're getting closer to 1979.
State Department figures advise reaching out to Khomeini's entourage, especially Dr. Ebrahim Yazdi, a naturalized U.S. citizen. The inconsistent U.S. response leads the Shah to conclude that they're working with Khomeini against him, which isn't true. So the Shah and his government can't get the unrest under control in 1978, and things soon escalate in 1979. In January, the Shah appoints Prime Minister Shapur Bakhtiar to create a new civilian government. Bakhtiar belongs to the banned National Front, so the Shah hopes the new government will calm the protests. Bakhtiar orders political prisoners released, relaxes censorship and martial law, and suggests disbanding Savak and negotiating with Khomeini. Khomeini refuses, and Bakhtiar concludes the Shah's presence is blocking any deal. He encourages the Shah to leave Iran. Even as the military insists, the monarch's presence is the only thing maintaining the morale of the army. On January.
And the Shah eventually did end up leaving. He had leukemia. Am I correct on that?
Yes, he came to the United States, and Jimmy Carter took him in, and he got medical treatment, I think, in New York and Mexico. And the Khomeini came out of Paris because he was in exile in Paris, and so he came to Iran, took control. They rioted in the streets. They toppled the government, and the demand they made: give us the Shah to Jimmy Carter, and they took the hostages because we didn't give him the Shah. Carter said, "No, I'm not going to give him to you."
Carter, good old peanut farmer Jimmy Carter, also tried to rescue the hostages. You remember
Yes,
that?
and it was a complete disaster.
It was a complete disaster. Let's take a look.
Faces pressure to bring the hostages home by other means. So in April 1980, he orders Operation Eagle Claw, a special forces rescue raid. But 3 of the 8 U.S. helicopters assigned to the mission suffer technical problems, while another crashes into a fuel tanker while refueling in the desert, causing an explosion that kills 8 American servicemen. The raid.
What a disaster.
That was the state of the United States military after the Vietnam War.
Now the United States military is UFO technology. We are in a different universe now.
Democrats and some Republicans, the Congress, did not want to allocate money at all to the United States military after the Vietnam War. They wanted to just go away. But Reagan came and he saw the state of the military. What we've got, that, what are you, helicopters crashing in the desert? Are you out of your mind? And he increased the military budget to its proper place, and the Congress, the Democrats in the Congress, blew a gasket. They went out of their freaking minds. How there's homeless, there's hungry people, blah, blah, blah. How dare you? The same thing today. You're spending money on military thing, you're blowing the budget.
Ronald Reagan gave us an incredible military. If it wasn't for Ronald Reagan, you would never have had F-14 Tomcats. You would have never had F-15 Fighting Eagles. The Navy he provided for us. He was truly a great president. And I know we're going to get a lot of hate for that. I think that there's been this big false telling of history regarding Ronald Reagan's presidency. But he gave us an amazing military.
He was also in a fight with communism, with the Soviet Union. And he said, we can't fall behind. It was called the arms race. It's called the space race, that race, whatever it was called. And he said, no, we cannot fall behind. And he gave us Star Wars. Everybody laughed at him. You're a loony bin, nutso. How stupid can you be? Lasers in space, space age technology. That's just science fiction. You're a nutcase. You're a dummy.
The best thing about the arms race.
Look at it now. Look at the technology now. Who's stupid now?
The best thing about the arms race was you heard a lot of that in the 80s, but I also heard a lot of smarter people. I remember hearing older cats going, well, we're going to win this. We're going to win this because we have more resources than Russia. We're an industrial powerhouse. What does Russia produce? A little bit of oil and ice.
And it
So
bankrupted
they were
Russia.
bound, and exactly, the Soviet Union was destined to lose the arm race because they were never going to be able to keep up financially. There's only so many fighter jets they can produce, only so many subs, only so many nuclear missiles before they ran out of cash.
And the Shah was an ally of the United States. And who did Khomeini go to? Russia.
Russians.
The
Yeah.
Soviets. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, the Soviets are predominantly godless, so that worked out. Let's see what Iran used to look like in the early 1970s. You want to see that? You want to see a bunch of hot Iranian women before they covered up?
Iran, a country brimming with energy, exploding with construction and development, a dynamic state with a thriving capital.
Look at their dancing nightclub. Look at that. Look at a city landscape with lights.
Iran today, women even playing soccer, symbol of a radical revolution against deep-rooted taboos, habits, and prejudices.
Hot Iranian women playing soccer. Hey, did you see that, old man?
You know, she's probably 80 years old by now.
Oh, man, I would still. Arr. Arr.
Iran,
That's one thing about
in-depth-
Iranian women. They're all hot. How dare you cover that up?
Well, because they're Persian. They're more. It's a different. It's a genealogical tree. They're not Saudi Arabian. They're not Arabian. They are Persian. They're different. But get a load of this. They had Christians, Iranian Christians. I had physical therapists and some chiropractors, and one was an Iranian Christian, and the other one was an Iranian Jew. They both had to flee the Iran when the Ayatollahs took over. Their families left, but there's Zoroastrianists, there's Coptic Christians, there's all kinds of religious people, nationalities in Iran, other than Saudi Arabia or Qatar or Bahrain. They're all Muslim,
Right.
But Iran was diverse.
It was diverse. It was a melting pot.
In an age when so many monarchies perished and Mohammad Reza Shah had ascended to the throne, Iran still adheres
that's
to
the
those
child.
traditions. With the old
Yeah, there's a son
Constitution
who's going to take over soon.
Yeah, he's like 60 years old right now.
all Asia, he still remains a monarchy. Symbol of the new role of women in Muslim Iran is the active participation of Farah, the Shabanu, in representing the dynasty, the state. She's in charge of all sectors of national life, particularly in the fields of social activities, art, and culture. The number of children in primary schools has risen from 1.7 million to 4.1 million. In high schools, from 326,000 to almost 2 million. Of 152,000 students in higher education, about 1/3 are women. In 1975 at Tehran University, 44% of all graduates in medicine were women, 47% in pharmacology as well as in social sciences, and 55% in education. Oil, the basis of Iran's wealth. The oil boom offering new opportunities, new challenges for the
It was
country's development.
bustling.
And that is the death nail of the Muslim world, the rejection of modernity. That is their death nail. They will survive because they know how to live in the desert with their camels. They will survive in a nuclear holocaust because they're going to go back to basics. But
Yeah.
Their rejection of modernity to live this Muslim Islamic lifestyle in the 8th century is an anathema to a lot of people.
People want rock and roll. They want Instagram. They want pizza. They want to be able to date. They want to be able to have fun.
And the 20-year-old Muslim Iranian that rejected modernity, put his wife back into slavery and his children back into the cave, that's the guy I fucking hate. Because he went after me, taking those goddamn hostages and killing all those people in Lebanon, blowing up all those Marines, and God knows the Khobar Towers in Kenya. All that nonsense that they financed, you're killing me? That's the guy I fucking hate. But
Yeah, I mean,
the
a lot of
20-year-old Iranian, I had to readjust. He just wants that back that we were showing now in that film.
Well,
he dreams of it.
A lot of them fled. They had no choice. They had to get out of there. Let's take a look at the modern Iranian who's living in America. What do you say?
Okay. Look at the flag. Look at the flag.
Look how happy they are.
Look at the flag. It's a lion. That is the old Iranian flag. The
And
new
they're
Iranian
happy.
flag doesn't have the lion. It's got some kind of plant or something. But the old Iranian flag has got the lion.
And they're happy. Their misery is over, Mr. Dave Smith.
In a modern society, they're not
these
living in the 7th century.
Right, but the thing of it is, these people that we're seeing right here, their grandparents were gutted in front of them. Their family members, their friends were killed in front of them.
Because you didn't wear the hijab correctly. You didn't pray 5 times a day. It's just stupid stuff.
Right. So their parents had to flee.
Their grandparents.
Yeah, because they didn't want to get killed. They didn't want to be brutally murdered. And they wanted their kids to have a better life. So I'm happy for them. Oh, they're loving Donald Trump. They just adore, oh my goodness. Right now, if you're an American, if you're in the military and you go talk to an Iranian girl, you're probably going to score.
Well, like I tell you, I'm conflicted because I grew up with the rest of my boomer generation. Most of them are probably dead or whatever, the nursing home, but we couldn't stand Iranians. We hated them. And they were also Muslim. These guys, I feel happy for them. Way to go. The Wicked Witch is dead, but he's still a Muslim in my mind. He's a Muslim Iranian. He practices Islam. He's still a threat. Part of me says, I'm happy for you, but the other part says, are you still Muslim? Are you still practicing Islam, which is a threat to Western society? So it's a conflict to me.
I'm happy for them. I don't fear these people. They don't seem to be radical Islamists. They're Americanized. They appreciate America. They support our president. I think a lot of people that are, go ahead.
I saw them change overnight. These guys were my friends living a Western lifestyle. The minute the Khomeinis took over, they changed. And these Muslims will change too.
Okay, well, they seem pretty happy now.
Now they seem happy. Yeah. You just wait.
All right. Well, wait for what?
For them to change, for them to revert, for their Khomeini to come and tell them you've got to be an enemy of Western society. You've got to kill all the Christians. You have to do this to Western society. You just wait. They're Muslim. As long as somebody's a practitioner of Islam, I do not trust him.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't feel that way. I think these people have been living in misery for 47 years. And if another Khomeini comes around, I think they're going to shun him. Now, will all of them shun him? Will all of them turn against a Khomeini? No, because you're always going to have radical fundamentalists. But these people right here, they're American, they're happy, and I hope they put the right guy in charge.
Well, that's the thing nowadays. Now,
yeah,
because you've got the Kurds, you've got the Christians, you've got this tribe, the Sunnis, the Shias. Which one's going to take over?
Yeah, the thing about Iran is that they were Western oriented. It's kind of like nation building in Venezuela. Those people don't want to live like that. I think these people are going to be more prone to getting back how things were. It's not like having a regime change in Afghanistan.
And just because you killed Khomeini doesn't mean you killed all of his supporters. They're still there in droves by the millions. There's still women wearing the burqa to this day, and tomorrow they're going to wear the burqa. What are you going to do with those guys? Because they're gonna slit your throat. I've seen them do it. Those guys are murderous sons of bitches. They'll kill you.
Well, here's the thing. We live on planet Earth, and planet Earth has evil in it. Evil's always going to exist. Evil will always be lurking in the shadows. You're never going to erase evil. It's always going to be there until Christ returns. So that risk is always there. To the Dave Smiths of the world, you're always going to have to fight evil.
That guy.
Eliminated.
Yeah. I wanted, if we had declared war on Iran in my 20s, I would have joined the military. That would have been my Vietnam. That would have been the boomers' generation Vietnam, fighting Iran. Millions of us would have fought gladly to kill every Iranian possible we could get our hands on.
Let's look at the announcement of the death of the Ayatollah.
Literally 2 minutes ago, but Fox News can confirm that Iran's supreme leader, the Ayatollah Khamenei, is dead following Israeli strikes against his compound and location earlier today. A senior Israeli official confirming this news. Earlier tonight, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu describing the strikes not only against the supreme leader, but against much of the Iranian leadership. We know the breakdown in strikes focused on leadership for the Israelis and military targets initially for the Americans, and has since expanded as this campaign is expected to continue in the days and possibly even weeks ahead. As we're looking at the current situation across the region, we're also gathering new information on what the Israelis have been doing against Iran. We are told from a military official that the largest Israeli Air Force sortie against any country in the world was conducted this morning with 200 Israeli fighter jets targeting 500 different locations, dropping hundreds of munitions on a variety of different targets inside of Iran. The Israelis, while they were going after leadership, were also looking to neutralize the incoming ballistic missile fire that has targeted their country throughout the day. Sirens sounded across Israel throughout the afternoon, sending millions of people into bomb shelters. But again, the takeaway here, the Israelis have killed Iran's supreme leader. That is being confirmed to Fox News by a senior Israeli official.
And he's dead.
Where was Dave Smith all those years when the Iranians were raining hell and torment on Israel? For decades, they killed Jews by the bucket load, by the train load. They rained missile after missile by the hundreds of tens of thousands. Where was Dave Smith? In his house here in the United States? Nice and comfy and cozy? Yeah, that's where he was. Fucking asshole. The Iranians made the Jews' life a living hell, and the Americans' life, and anybody in Western society. Death to America, burning our flag. Jesus Christ. I'm glad he's dead. And kudos to the Jews, man.
Yeah, so no more Khomeini.
This time around, who knows who's going to take over?
Well, look, man, you got to hope for the best.
Yeah.
What else can you do? Let's hope that they get a more moderate ran country like Bangladesh or Jordan, Malaysia, Morocco. Let's hope they get some type of sanity that materializes rather than a power vacuum grab.
Yeah. Well, it's up to the young people. It's up to the young British guys. It's up to the young Frenchmen. It's up to the young Swedes. It's up to the young Americans. It's up to the young Iranians. It's up to you guys. This is your moment. This is your country. You're going to fight for it or not. The British young people, Tommy Robinson, I hate to tell you, they have abandoned you. You're on your own.
Yeah, England's fallen. It's gone. Tommy Robinson has been standing on a soapbox for a couple years now, and nothing's changed. In fact, you don't really hear much about Tommy Robinson anymore.
You don't. Europe fatigue. That's what we got.
Yeah, it's over. It's like if America had only blue states, there's no hope for England. At this point, we need to invade England because they have nuclear weapons. By the way, please like, share, and subscribe. Hit that alert button.
Subscribe before we invade England.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm afraid that's the only Tommy Robinson's hope is for America to invade England. Otherwise, his country is dead because you young people didn't fight. You're not fighting the Muslims in the fucking streets. You let yourselves be castrated by your feminist women. You listen to your communist women, and you took away all your guns. Way to go!
I mean, England is already like Nazi Germany. I mean, you got the citizens being rounded up and taken to jail for social media posts. It's over for them. It's over.
And now
So-
it's up to the Iranian young people. What are you going to fight for?
Let's look at what Trump had to say today.
Earlier today, CENTCOM shared the news that 3 U.S. military service members have been killed in action. As one nation, we grieve for the true American patriots who have made the ultimate sacrifice for our nation, even as we continue the righteous mission for which they gave their lives. We pray for the full recovery of the wounded and send our immense love and eternal gratitude to the families of the fallen. And sadly, there will likely be more. Before it ends, that's the way it is. Likely be more, but we'll do everything possible where that won't be the case. But America will avenge their deaths and deliver the most punishing blow to the terrorists who have waged war against basically civilization. They have waged war against civilization itself. Our resolve, and likewise that of Israel, has.
Yeah, and that's why we're aligned with Israel. Israel helps us fight the bad guys.
Even in Israel, they have a peace movement that's big. It's strong.
Yeah.
They're
People-
eternally fighting. They have the Dave Smiths of Israel, if you can believe that. It's
You'll
a
ha-
constant fight.
Right, you'll get the Dave Smiths of the world, and they'll often say, well, "What are we getting out of this?" There's evil in the world, and they live in that part of the world, in that part of our planet, and Israel helps us shoot at them. They help us fire missiles and drop bombs on those evil people. That's just what Israel does for us.
And here in the United States, we're falling because California, a male that's fighting in California. New York has fallen. Illinois has fallen. Minnesota has fallen. Every blue state has no men left to fight. It doesn't. That's the problem.
Well,
Young people, a young 20-year-old man, what are you going to fight for? What are you going to do?
We've
This is your
allowed
world now.
We've allowed communism to creep into our world and our country to subvert it, and generations, you have communists, white liberal women who have gotten jobs as teachers, as professors, as politicians. And that's when you start to see your society become subverted. Look at Mamdani. You guys elected a communist. We've got a lot of fallen states in this country.
Yeah.
And they're called blue states. They're called democratic states. Any democratic state you've got in this country is full of crime. It's full of murder. It's full of economic hardship. It's full of illegal aliens that are going to replace you. It's a mess. Every blue state in America is a mess. You give them power and your society becomes subverted. Let's take a look at some Democrat protesters in good old New York. What do you say, Boomer?
Let's do it.
Look
So are you?
at
We go one another dime. No more money for Trump's crimes. Thank you. Are you
They're
ready?
always chanting something.
What are they protesting for? They're protesting because they're upset that the evil Khomeini was killed? What
Yes.
are they protesting for?
Yes, they're upset that Khomeini was killed because he was an anti-imperialist to them. He was fighting fascism. He was fighting the West. He was aligned with the Soviet Union. Yes, Khomeini is their hero. Yeah, the West is their villain.
Are you ready to march? Are you ready to stand with the people of Iran and to reject this war loud and clear? Let's do it. The banners are lined up behind us. We're going to start marching.
Not one Iranian face in that crowd. It's all white liberals, man. It's all
Yeah.
white liberals.
Communists, Marxists. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fighting capitalism,
that.
fighting the West.
That's New York is like England. It's gone.
Yes.
It's fallen.
We keep talking about Tommy Robinson and how England has fallen. Half the United States has fallen. Half of it. It's gone. Blue states, New Mexico, California, Oregon, Washington State, Washington, D.C., Hawaii, they're gone. They're fallen, never to return. The Latino messed up California. I don't understand him, but he's gone. He's a goner. If we're not careful, we're going to go the way of England. If we're not careful.
Let's look at their grand leader.
By the United States and Israel mark a catastrophic escalation.
Mayor Zohran Mamdani slammed the U.S. and Israel missile attack on Iran's military bases, nuclear sites, and leadership.
In an illegal act of war, of aggression, bombing cities, killing civilians, opening up a new theater of war. Americans do not want this.
Iran swiftly retaliated with strikes on U.S. bases and...
He doesn't speak for me. He speaks for Dave Smith. He doesn't speak for me.
He speaks for millions of young people, I'll tell you that right now.
Oh, they're so stupid. They voted for this guy.
In droves.
And what happened? Winter came and there were dead bodies lying around.
Do you see them protesting? No, you see them protesting the assassination of Khomeini, but you don't see them protesting how he handled the crisis in New York City over the winter. You don't see them protesting.
And that's the thing. Young people, they don't really have any stake in the game. They don't own homes yet. Once Mamdani increases property taxes, oh my God, people are just going to lose their homes. The people in Chicago, you got a humble, hardworking, blue-collar black family. Their property taxes were maybe 2 payments of $800 a year. Now they're paying 2 payments of $8,000 a year. And what do you think's going to happen to those homes? They're going to get auctioned off.
But like the citizens of England, they don't wake up. They're in the house on fire, and they're just sitting there waiting to get burned and wondering, why is my hand on fire? Why do I feel pain in my left arm? That's the citizens of England. That's the citizens of Chicago, the blacks of Chicago, the blacks of California, the Latinos of the Southwest California, the black Democratic voter. They're the citizens of England, sitting there on fire and wondering why.
Well, you know when they wake up? They wake up when they're wearing gray jumpsuits, rationing chocolate and razors, and looking at a TV screen that says, "All hail Big Brother." That's when they wake up.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well.
Israeli targets, fueling fears of a wider Middle East firestorm just hours after President Trump's green light. President Trump hailed the assault as a massive and ongoing push to dismantle Iran's missile stockpile and topple its regime, posting on social media that it's preemptive payback for secret nuclear threats to America's allies. Mamdani demands peace over bombs.
Americans do not want another war in pursuit of regime change. We want an answer to the affordability crisis. We want peace.
Governor Hochul says the state is boosting...
Which he has no solution for the affordability crisis.
He's not Iranian. He's Ugandan. What does he care? He's from an African nation.
He cares about the narrative. The narrative is bad Trump. Trump bad. That's the narrative. That's all he cares about. It's his political popularity.
Yeah, and they did this to Reagan when he bombed Lebanon, retaliated. He retaliated in 1988 when he took out half the Iranian Navy. No, remember Clinton? When he went to Kosovo, they threatened him too. Bush, and they threaten everybody. You can't do that. You're not the president. We're the president. The Congress thinks it's the president.
That's the thing. People don't understand. People like Dave Smith don't understand that from time to time you have to get your hands dirty. From time to time, you have to spill blood.
There is no such thing, like I've told you many times before, there is no such thing as America first. It's a lie. It doesn't exist. You're always going to have that knock on the door, the intruder at your gate. Always America first. Bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great thing that Iran is being dismantled. It was a constant threat. It was constant danger. And if they would have gotten their hands on nuclear weapons, oh my God.
You and I lived through the golden age of terrorism. Terrorism. Oh, you mean 9/11? No, I mean every day. Every day there was a terrorist bombing, a massacre at an airport. Somebody got massacred. Somebody got killed. They took out ships. They took out planes. They hijacked this. They killed that guy.
Anybody under the age of 30, let's be realistic, they don't know what 9/11 is. They didn't live through it.
Yeah. No.
That was like the last horrific major terrorist attack when you think about it. 2 large buildings coming down.
And who was a major funder of all that terrorism and mayhem? Iran and the Khomeinis, they gave it money because it takes
Let's look
money
at-
to build bombs.
Let's take a look at the U.S. and Israel attack on Iran because I think it's interesting.
The U.S. and Israel launch a preemptive strike against Iran. Well, they used a devastating tactic called time on target. With 2 aircraft carriers and a fleet of destroyers, they calculated the exact math so Israeli jets and U.S. cruise missiles hit their marks at the exact same second. Israel's main goal is assassinating Khamenei and the top leadership, while the U.S. pounded military targets and other high-value industry. But why did...
And everything was so precise. We're seeing so much video come out of Iran where the people are in the streets cheering as certain targets are obliterated. They're cheering.
Just the target.
Yeah.
You
and
you would never get such precision. Even 20 years ago, you would never get such precision.
They're screaming and they're chanting. Please like, share, and subscribe to BVX. Hit that alert button. They're just happy. No, but you see the precision, man. We attacked Iran with UFO technology. We actually sent satellites up there to scramble their electronics. So for a brief moment, nothing worked. Screens went black. And then, boom.
Is that why I couldn't get Netflix the other day?
Iranian air defenses fail to activate? Because the U.S. fights with a different kind of technology using electronic warfare from space, sea, and air. They completely blinded the Iranian radar just as destroyers launched a swarm of cruise missiles to wipe out the anti-air systems. But wait, the war is still not over. Iran still has thousands of ballistic missiles and drones, so they've hit American and Middle East allied bases, and right now, almost everyone is an open target. On February 28, 2026, the United States and Israel launched a major coordinated military offensive against Iran. Israeli officials have called their offensive operation Roar the Lion.
F-35s. Do you know that we even brought out the legendary F-15 Eagle? I didn't even think they'd ever bring that thing out again. They brought out the legendary F-15 Eagle, and its job was to precisely obliterate trucks with missiles on them. That's their only job. They were looking for trucks with missiles on them.
And the Iranians, they got thousands of missiles. Thousands
not
of them.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
While the U.S. operation has been referred to as Operation Epic Fury, the message behind the Israel and U.S. strike was clear. This wasn't just a show of force. This was a targeted move to assassinate the supreme leader of Iran. As stated, this wasn't just a random military strike. The ultimate target was the supreme leader's own compound. Missiles dialed in on highly sensitive areas. We're talking specifically around University Street, the Jamhuri district, and near Pastor Street. If you know the layout of Tehran, you know exactly what this means. This zone isn't just another neighborhood. It is the absolute nerve center of the Iranian government. It houses the primary, day-to-day offices of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. But here's the catch. The IDF says they got him. An Iranian military says Khamenei was not inside his offices when the missiles actually made an impact. The strike may have leveled the compound, but the target slipped away. And right now, the entire region is holding its breath waiting to see what happens next. But reports says Israel says Khamenei's body has been found and he is confirmed dead.
Can you imagine that? There's nowhere you can hide. There's nowhere you can hide. They must have had sights on this guy with a satellite that can just take a crystal clear picture of you walking down the street. Where was he going to go?
Once we put army bases and air force bases in Iran proper, my God, we're underneath Russia. We're right next to China and Afghanistan and the Taliban.
Listen,
oh
the Chinese just lost their main access to oil.
Yeah, they did.
They're fucked, man. They're screwed. That's why I'm saying it's going to be hard for the wrong regime to materialize. It's going to be hard for the wrong people to take charge. Because when you think about it, America just showed the world that if we want to kill you, we will.
Weren't the Iranians also producing drones for Putin and the Ukraine war? I think they were.
You're asking. I'm a moron, idiot. You're asking the wrong guy. I don't know.
That's what I heard.
I get all my education off of YouTube. You're asking the wrong guy.
But yeah.
Listen, that first wave, it didn't hold back, not even a little. We're talking about a perfectly synchronized, overwhelming assault. The entire goal was to blind and cripple the regime all at once. First, they hit Karaj, just completely ripping through their critical industrial and aerospace hubs. Then Tehran, the capital, rocked. Any illusion of safety they had was just completely shattered. They didn't stop there. They struck Qom, sending absolute shockwaves right through the ideological heart of the country. And if you follow this stuff, you know exactly how heavily fortified that area is. Over in the west, missiles literally rain down.
Yeah, we made it rain missiles.
Reagan did this, and everybody does that, and I've heard it my entire life. The War Powers Act. The War Powers Act. You can't declare war. Only Congress can declare war. You can't do that. You're not the president. We're the president. Oh, good God. I've heard that screech my entire life.
Well, what is the War Powers Act?
I don't know. What is it? You tell me.
Let's check it out.
The year was 1973. Richard Nixon was president of the United States.
Boo!
Nearly 18 years.
I like Richard
all
Nixon.
without an official declaration of war. This prompted Congress to pass the War Powers
He was not a crook.
He was a crook.
Preventing any future president from involving the U.S. in an undeclared war. Congress had traditionally declared war or authorized the president to use military force against enemies beyond its borders, a power granted exclusively to them by Article 1, Section 8 of the U.S. Constitution. The War of 1812, the Mexican-American War, the Spanish-American War, World War I, World War II, these were all declared by Congress. But after World War II, things got a bit fuzzy. Some presidents started taking military liberties with their role as commander-in-chief of the armed forces, a power also granted by the Constitution.
Well, because sometimes Congress is a bunch of pussies.
They're not really concerned about the safety of the country. They're concerned about the safety of their own next campaign.
Yeah.
But once you become president, then you become concerned for the safety of the country. But Ilhan Omar and Chuck Schumer, they didn't give a crap about the freaking
No.
safety of the country.
No.
They give a crap about getting reelected.
No, I'm more along the lines of Andrew Jackson. Well, they made their decision. Now let them enforce it.
Mm.
In 1950, President Harry Truman sent U.S. troops to help defend South Korea against North Korean invaders. He called it a police action, so technically it wasn't a war. In 1960,
See, there's ways to get around it.
Yeah. Police action,
President
United
John
Nations.
F. Kennedy sent supplies and military advisors to South Vietnam. Less than a year later, U.S. troops were fighting in the Vietnam War, including in the Gulf of Tonkin, all without that official declaration. And then in 1969, President Richard Nixon began bombing Cambodia in secret, hiding missions from both Congress and the American people. It took more than a year for this information to leak to the public, and it wasn't until 1973.
Can you imagine? Are you bombing Cambodia?
It was the right thing to do. Nixon took the failed war from Lyndon Baines Johnson and McNamara, the Secretary of Defense. And said, they botched it. They were stupid, body count bullshit. And Nixon fought a proper war, and he ended it. He brought the Vietnamese, North Vietnamese, to the negotiating table, to the peace table, because he bombed the fuck out of them. He took the war to them. He blew them up in Cambodia, and he blew them up in North Vietnam. Let's do peace. I want peace. Yeah, right.
So
I want
basically,
peace.
the War Powers Resolution is the president having to get permission to go to war from Congress. That's basically what it is, correct?
It limits. It's more than that. Yeah, it does that, but it limits military action to 30 days, 60 days, something like that. It limits the military action. It has a time limit and a time frame.
So in other words, Trump would have had to go through Congress. They dick around for 30, 40 days, and then they decide if whether or not he could enact force.
They wrote it in such a way that any military action is considered an act of war.
Right.
Not necessarily. Not really. When Trump bombed Soleimani, was that an act of war? He didn't continue bombing. He just killed that one guy. When Obama did all those drone strikes, was that a war? No, it was just drone strikes. So
we just
the
got
U.S. Supreme
Maduro.
Court has never ruled on this.
Right. We got Maduro, got him out of the picture.
Was that a war? According to the Democrats in the War Powers Act, it was a war.
Yeah, it wasn't a war. You want to keep going with this?
You and I know, but yeah, keep it going.
That Congress ordered an immediate end to the bombing raids. But at this point, Congress realized more needed to be done to check the power of the president when it came to
check the power of the president.
On November 7th, 1973, Congress passed the War Powers Resolution. The idea was to ensure that Congress and the president agreed on war actions before committing troops into hostile situations.
Why would you do that?
There are a few key parts to the War Powers Resolution. First, the president must consult and report to Congress before sending troops overseas, though he or she can initiate sending troops in the case of an attack. Second, if the president initiates a hostile action, it can only last for 60 days plus a 30-day withdrawal period. Then, Congress has to vote on whether it can continue, unless Congress can't meet because of an attack on the U.S. mainland. And finally, if forces have been deployed that aren't acting on a declaration of war, the president must remove them at direction of Congress.
Can you believe that?
So, quick recap. President consults Congress before sending troops overseas. Hostile action can only last 60 days. And lastly, if no declaration of war, Congress can remove troops. Yeah, I mean...
It's got the power of the purse. If they don't like what the president is doing in Venezuela, they can always defund the Pentagon. Or the Department of Defense.
So who's the president of the United States? The president?
Exactly.
Or is it Congress?
Chuck Schumer? Pelosi? Really? Those guys are going to conduct war? Conduct a military action? Really?
We'd all be dead and wearing burqas.
They're a congressman from California and a congressman from New York. So you mean to tell me New Yorkers are gonna tell me what the fuck to do, and not the president, who's the president of everybody? You can't. Sorry, the Supreme Court needs to weigh in on this. And every time they try to do a limitation on with the War Powers Act, the federal court has dismissed the case and let the president do whatever he wants.
Well, like on cue, the Democrats are trying to force the War Powers Resolution. Here we go.
Who woke up to this news this morning? What are they saying?
Yeah, well, News Nation has independently confirmed that House Speaker Mike Johnson, as well as Senate Intelligence Committee member Mark Warner and House Intelligence Committee member Jim Himes, all notified before these strikes happened by the Trump administration. But a big focus here on Capitol Hill right now is going to be on what's known as a War Powers Resolution. And that would require congressional approval for any offensive strikes against Iran. We're seeing a lot more chatter, obviously, of that this morning. Senator Tim Kaine, a short while ago, saying that Congress should reconvene immediately to vote on that. And earlier this morning, we also heard from House member Ro Khanna, who's pushed a measure for a War Powers Resolution. He said that a vote could be held as soon as Monday. Take a listen to what he said.
Donald Trump has launched a war on Iran. The Congress must reconvene on Monday to vote on Thomas Massie and my War Powers Resolution to stop this war. Trump says his goal is to topple the Iranian regime. But the American people are tired of regime change.
I'm tired of Democrats speaking for me. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the Democrats doing anything and everything to hate Trump.
Why is he so excited? Why is this such an urgency?
What is it with these guys? Because this is their opportunity for attention. This is their big political opportunity for them. I didn't see them crying like this when they were sending missiles and bombs to Ukraine. They were all for that. They were signing missiles, signing bombs, putting their little messages on them.
And who did that? Biden did that.
Right, but that's the thing. Do you really mean to tell me that if Biden were the president right now, and if Biden did this, that they would be pushing for this?
No, they wouldn't. And Biden did the right thing, and Trump did the right thing. So what's the problem? They're just doing this because of the midterms, trying to get some kind of hysteria, trying to get their base riled up. Look what Trump did, evil orange man bad. But it's nonsense that they're so excited because the Ayatollah Khomeini got killed. You're crying over that guy,
right?
And it's such an urgency because the world is going to come to an end. The United States is going to crumble. We're all going to die.
Right. Billions of dollars and risk their lives. Every member of Congress must go on record today on how they will vote on Thomas Massie and my War Powers Resolution.
Again, pressure to vote on that war powers resolution. We also saw Senator Andy Kim from New Jersey release a strongly worded statement calling this a dangerous and foolish decision made by President Trump, that similar to one that President Bush did a generation ago. So all sorts of reactions continuing to come in, Hannah.
Tom, thank you.
Yeah, they're all coming out of the woodwork.
Where were they putting American soldiers in harm's way? Where were they when American soldiers were getting killed by the terrorists, Hamas and Houthis and all that shit? Where were they with such hysterics? It's something about female hysteria. That's all it is. Good God, they need to go see Sigmund Freud. Get a shot of fucking something.
Yeah, get a big Sigmund Freud penis. All right. Well, look, we've gone on way too long.
You've gone way too long.
Way too long. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hit that alert button. Boomer, you got any last words?
Subscribe, and you'll hear it from me.
I'm going to translate what that means. That means thanks for watching, and thanks for all the subscriptions. Thanks for everything.
Get the 200 subscribers, and I'll do the...
You'll do it naked. He'll do it naked.
No, nobody wants to see me naked. No, I didn't want to see me naked.
All right, Boomer.